Let's get right into it. Number 5. Sleep like it's your job. Imagine treating sleep like an Olympic sport instead of something you squeeze in after doom scrolling for 2 hours. Turns out, your brain doesn't actually learn anything while you're awake, it just collects raw, chaotic data like a hoarder shoving mail into a drawer. The real magic happens at night, when your brain quietly sorts through that mess, deciding what's trash and what's a memory worth keeping. This process is called memory consolidation, and it happens mostly during deep sleep and REM cycles. Skimp on sleep, and you're basically asking your brain to take a final exam after ripping half the textbook pages out. Studies consistently show that sleep-deprived people perform worse on reasoning, pattern recognition, and basically every task that makes an IQ test an IQ test. And it's not just about hours, quality matters. Waking up 17 times because your neighbor's dog thinks 3 a.m. is concert time doesn't count as rest. Athletes obsess over recovery, but somehow society treats brain recovery like an optional DLC. The fix is almost insultingly simple. Consistent sleep schedule, dark room, less blue light glowing into your eyeballs like a tiny accusatory sun. Do that, and your brain gets to actually file its paperwork instead of drowning in it. Basically, intelligence isn't just built while you're thinking, it's built while you're unconscious and drooling slightly on a pillow. Number 4. Learn something uncomfortable. Your brain is lazy. Not in a mean way, it's just efficient, which is a polite way of saying it wants to do the least amount of work possible while still keeping you alive. That's why doing the same puzzle app for 3 years doesn't make you smarter, it just makes you good at that one specific app. Real cognitive growth happens when you're bad at something new. Learning a language, an instrument, or a skill that makes you feel like a confused toddler forces your brain to build fresh neural connections instead of coasting on old ones. This is neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to physically rewire itself based on what you challenge it with. Comfortable repetition feels productive, but it's basically mental treadmill walking, lots of motion, zero new terrain. Discomfort, on the other hand, is like hiking somewhere without a trail. Annoying? Yes, but you come back with actual new pathways. This is why polyglots and musicians tend to show denser neural connectivity in brain scans, not because they were born special, but because they voluntarily suffered through the "I sound like a dying goose" phase of practice. So if a skill makes you want to throw your phone across the room, congratulations, that's your brain quietly leveling up. Growth doesn't feel like comfort. It feels like mild, productive humiliation. Number 3. Move your body, please. You'd think intelligence lives strictly in the library section of your brain, but a shocking amount of it depends on whether you've walked more than 400 steps today. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, which delivers oxygen and nutrients like a delivery driver who actually shows up on time. It also boosts a protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which sounds like something from a skincare ad, but is actually crucial for growing new neurons and strengthening existing ones. Basically, cardio is fertilizer for your brain cells. Ignore this, and your brain runs on a kind of foggy, sluggish setting, like a phone stuck at 1% battery in low-power mode. This is why people report clearer thinking after a walk. It's not just fresh air being poetic, it's literal biology, giving your neurons a jumpstart. Studies link regular aerobic activity to improved memory, faster processing speed, and better executive function, which is the fancy term for not forgetting why you walked into a room. You don't need to become a marathon runner overnight. Even brisk walking regularly does the trick. So, next time you're stuck on a problem, don't sit there frowning at it like it personally wronged you. Get up and move. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is stop thinking and start walking. Number 2, curiosity is a muscle. Somewhere along the way, adults stop asking why about everything and start pretending they already know. Kids ask 100 questions a day. Most adults ask maybe 2, and one of them is, "Where's the remote?" But curiosity isn't just a personality trait, it's a cognitive habit that keeps your brain actively searching for patterns instead of passively absorbing whatever's in front of it. Every time you ask a genuine question and chase down the answer, you're strengthening the same mental pathways used in problem solving and abstract reasoning. This is why people who read widely ask, "Wait, how does that actually work?" and go down random Wikipedia rabbit holes at 1 a.m. tend to score higher on tests measuring fluid intelligence, basically, the ability to reason through brand new problems instead of relying on memorized facts. Curiosity keeps your brain in an active, hungry state rather than a comfortable, sedated one. The opposite, passive consumption, where you scroll without absorbing anything, is like leaving your brain on autopilot while it slowly forgets how to fly the plane. So the trick isn't some secret hack, It's embarrassingly simple. Get nosy. Ask more questions than feels socially acceptable. Look things up mid-conversation even if people give you that look. Your brain rewards nosiness with actual structural growth. Basically, being annoyingly inquisitive is a legitimate cognitive workout, not just a personality flaw. Number 1. Master the art of explaining. Here's an uncomfortable truth. If you can't explain something simply, you don't actually understand it. You've just memorized the shape of it. This is sometimes called the Feynman technique, named after a physicist who insisted that real understanding means breaking an idea down so a 12-year-old could get it. No jargon, no hiding behind fancy words. Teaching or explaining forces your brain to organize scattered information into a coherent structure, which is basically forcing your thoughts to build furniture instead of leaving everything in boxes. When you try to explain, say, how the economy works, and you suddenly realize you're just repeating buzzwords you heard on a podcast, that gap is your brain politely exposing your own confusion. This process activates deeper processing pathways than passive learning ever could, because explaining demands retrieval, restructuring, and simplification all at once. A full mental workout disguised as a conversation. People who regularly explain concepts, whether teaching, writing, or just annoyingly correcting people at dinner parties, tend to retain information longer and understand it more flexibly. So next time you learn something new, try explaining it out loud to absolutely anyone, even a confused houseplant. If you can make it simple, you've actually learned it. If you can't, congratulations, you've just identified the exact hole in your own understanding. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.